From Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No? He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own without...
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning.
So that was the scene chanting death to Israel, death to America in the Iranian parliament after they voted for a bill that could suspend nuclear inspections in response to the U.S. strikes on their nuclear facilities and the end of their war with Israel, which seems to be holding that ceasefire as we get into the late afternoon here in East Coast time. So Iranian state media also reporting a fierce regime crackdown. According to the reports, hundreds of people have been arrested for their ties to Israel. We've heard about all of these extensive operations of spying within Iran. Also, there are reports of executions of people who were involved and executions of Mossad agents, according to some of these reports. So it is not unusual to hear that, but it is stunning.
And here is CNN's Erin Burnett again claiming that those chanting death to America in Iran are actually really friendly. Well, perhaps they're friendly to her because she's the very definition of a useful idiot.
They're chanting death to America all around me, even as I say, oh, I'm an American reporting for CNN, and they were happy to speak to me. So that those two sort of jarring realities of the chant and yet the friendliness have existed together.
No wonder Donald Trump gave the media outlets another big serve earlier today during this press conference at The Hague.
You are watching live video. That is the Prime Minister of the Netherlands with, of course, our President Donald Trump. They are at The Hague in the Netherlands for this for the NATO talks. We're going to continue to monitor this. I think we're going to listen in right now.
Have you seen it? Okay. Pretty good. Very unfair to the pilots that risk their lives for our country. And then they get fake news, New York Times and CNN, make up a phony story to get some hits. That's the only reason I cared about it, because those pilots were so brave. I've never seen anything like it. They flew into the hornet's nest, and then they got hurt so badly by what the fake news wrote. And it was CNN, it was the New York Times, and they're both disgusting, really horrible groups of people. The pilots did an unbelievable job like nobody's ever seen. They hit pay dirt. You see where I guess you probably look, they call it the wound. You see where the wound is on the earth. And three of them right next to each other. Perfect. And they should be admired and respected for what they did. And the fake news, in order to try and hit me, the fake news made them look bad. But now they look really good again. So that was the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission. And it was also about the High Commission of Iran. Just said it was totally demolished. But we're going to have a news conference in a couple of minutes, and we'll see you, because I don't want to burden the Prime Minister with this, okay? Thank you very much.
US President Donald Trump is warning the war between Israel and Iran may reignite, and it may happen soon. He was speaking at The Hague at the end of the NATO summit, where some members have agreed to ramp up their defence spending to 5% of GDP by 2035. It's in response to a demand made by Trump. The alliance says it's united in the face of profound security threats and challenges. Well, the US strikes on Iran dominated the talks. Trump says that while he's confident negotiations with Iran are the next logical step, there's a chance the ceasefire may not hold.
They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon. I think a big telltale sign was when As you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire, and Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard.
Well, Donald Trump also said that US and Iranian officials will begin negotiations as soon as possible.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought. Now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not. The only thing we'd be asking for is what we were asking for before about we want no nuclear.
We're just minutes away from the closing bell on Wall Street, and the S&P 500 closed yesterday on the cusp of a record high. Right now, kind of flatlining, down just a teensy-weensy bit. CNN's Vanessa Yurkevich joins us now with more. Vanessa, this is really impressive given where the market was not that long ago.
Yeah, really a remarkable story on Wall Street. We've been watching the S&P very closely all day as it has been flirting with a new record, the last one set back in February. But it is remarkable because at the low of the S&P, it had shed $9.8 trillion in April, almost entering bear market territory. And it's nearly now recovered all of its losses. And just look at the markets. You see the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ on your screen. That dramatic V-shaped drop and then recovery. I was talking to a chief investment strategist, Sam Stovall of CFRA, who told me that usually it takes about 4 months for markets to enter the low and then another 4 months for a recovery to get back to even. That happened in half the time. So it really is remarkable. And essentially investors, what they have seen is that after the 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs and after the tariff rates on China were reduced from 145% to 30%, they really believe that the fear of a recession was taken off the table and that maybe some of these tariffs had more bark than bite. Also, Boris, just recently, the conflict in the Middle East between Iran and Israel, well, what happened over the weekend was that the U.S. took out nuclear sites in Iran. And so Wall Street woke up Monday morning and they were relieved. Investors were relieved. So you saw a little bit of a relief rally happening today. But we're watching down to the last minute to see if the S&P will hit a new record today, Boris.
And they've done it now. Daddy's mad. It's bad enough that the president has to deal with lefties losing it on networks like CNN and MSNBC. Networks pumping out lies, hysteria and hate 24/7. But the commander-in-chief was also fed up with an ally and a foe failing to live up to a peace deal. And they all copped it, starting with the lefty media outlets.
You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean. I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers.
You're real losers. Yes, you are. CNN and MSNBC, or was he calling them MSNDC? Well, frankly, he was just warming up.
You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people, and the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.